Hello and welcome back to Spiderwick Chronicles. This is Bio Enchanted, and today we'll be doing perhaps one of the most intensive sequences in the game when it comes to just the amount of stuff that happens in it. The quarry and the aftermath. So we'll attempt to invade this place and find out what's actually here. Well, once we've fought a bunch of these goblins anyway. I do like the combat music. It's very kind of chill, but it also works well as combat music, and it's just generally kind of cute. And yeah, I'm in quite a bit of trouble here. Let's catch some fairies, shall we? Whoops. Health for health. I quite like the quarry overall. It's an interesting set piece, and it's got some quite intensive combat in this area as well. I mean, that was kind of it for now, but
I caught ya.
We'll see what else it has to offer as we navigate the area. But of course, we can't go through this big gate because it's closed right now. And it's also covered in a lot of spiky looking sharp stuff, so I don't want to actually be grabbing that or anything like that. Let's catch this little bouncy boy. The sprites, couldn't they only give something that the environment already gives you anyway? Seem kind of pointless, to be honest. I think they might have just wanted to include them but didn't quite know what to do with them. Like, it felt like they were trying to include all the fairy types maybe from the books or something like that. But something I'm glad I've remembered is this.
I bet there's a fuse box nearby.
That would have been annoying if I'd forgotten to grab it, because I would have to come all the way back here. I quite like that the fence is made of just general bits of random junk. Some of it's actual fencing, but it's also strung together with like other bits of stuff. And that's an interesting visual, but it's kind of... It brings to mind that maybe the fence was actually built by the goblins to keep the humans out. Rather than built by builders to keep other people out. Because otherwise it probably would have had more standard fencing. Or at the very least it wouldn't be as reinforced as it has been. They've set this gate up to be more of an entrance to a fortress than a standard car gate like it used to be. Like exactly, it used to be a normal gate, so they just kind of wrapped barbed wire around it and other things like that. I don't actually know what getting more wilderness actually does to diversion. I think it might make it last longer or something like that, with the little star spinnies around the head. But I don't use it often enough throughout the game, or at least notice how long it lasts when I do use it. So it's kind of hard to tell for me what it's actually doing when it comes to extending the ability it has. But as you can see, the quarry is quite a lot of platforming. I mean, it does the Zelda thing of auto jump, so you don't really need to platform, so to speak. You just need to be kind of careful. That guy can just fall down there now. Of course, we need to be careful because Jared will auto jump off anything, including off the edge. So we have to be very careful we don't accidentally just walk him straight to his death. I do quite like this area though. It's an interesting little, it's a very unique area. Because none of the other areas are this heavy on the platforming. So it feels like a very unique area compared to even the other areas in the game because of that gameplay aspect. Because it's a lot more treacherous to navigate because of course it's a quarry. We're not really supposed to be here given it's a quarry. Generally places children don't play. But also it does a good job feeling very desolate as well due to the whole nature of it being all so badly dug out and everything like that. It definitely has a kind of an airy kind of feel that's appropriate for being the villain's main fortress kind of area. Of course, this is where they took our bullets. Of course, this is kind of their main fortress.
There's no power. I bet
But
I can
there's
do
a
some
bat.
damage with this.
I believe this is actually Jared's final bat as well. This is the maximum upgraded bat, the aluminum bat.
Ow! Ow, my knees.
I kind of like that. You kind of have to jump down that, but he makes that little kind of... There's a little bit of like mild realism that's really cute. So over here, let's place our fuse.
The circuit is now complete.
See what it... Also, happily, it actually auto-saved when we picked up the baseball bats, because that counts as the end of a quest, so... That means we actually have a bit of a checkpoint here that we wouldn't have otherwise had if we had grabbed it.
Yes, now I can get across.
Well, we could if I weren't an idiot. You see, if Jared isn't running, he won't jump. But for now, let's just take care of these, shall we?
Nailed it.
It's not obvious from the beginning, but these things are actually releasing fairies for us to catch later on. They're all trapped in these little jars. So let's just grab those now, shall we? But yeah, you can see at least that one showing up there. Oops. But yeah, you can see the fat boy being released there, so that's kind of like a visual reference of what you're actually doing.
There's no power.
So yeah, let's replace that fuse again. And this time remember to actually run to that jump so we can actually jump it. I'm feeling kind of stupid now.
The circuit is now complete.
But that also shows off how death works in this game, so, you know, question answered. You just reload checkpoint.
Yes, now I can get across.
So let's just release these again. Using the slingshot, we don't really use much throughout the game, really. We only really use it in a few places, to be honest. It's kind of a very niche tool. Yeah, there's actually one at the top of the tree that I believe I miss here. But at least I noticed it this time. So I can get it next time. So let's take this bridge across. Grab a few little stones.
A drawbridge, but there's no way to operate it.
That's a puzzle for later. We'll solve that in time.
Hey, kid.
Huh?
No, genius. Up here.
Oh, great, a talking goblin.
Hobgoblin to you. Goblins are the scum of the earth. Serving ogres, doing their bidding, and this particular ogre killed my family. And I'm here on a mission to destroy him.
But you're stuck in a cage.
Minor setback. You looking for the other fella? The one that looks just like you?
You've seen Simon? Where is he?
Caged up, just like me. What do you say we help each other out? Well, let me out of here and I'll free him for you. Deal?
How? I can't reach you.
There's a doohickey up in the tree. Loosen it to lower me down.
I like the Hobgoblin, he's fun. And he's also useful, but we'll see that later. Not much later though. But for now, let's get him out the tree so we can see how he can be useful once we've caught these fairies flitting around that we've just released. Got a pond skater, second out of I believe 3 in the game, there's not many of them. But they're nice to have because of the invincibility power up.
Here we go again.
Yeah, that's always annoying when that happens, but it doesn't happen too often because I remember how a lot of these sprites are kind of laid out on the page. Just a matter of going for the longest parts first when it comes to this kind of thing. There we are. We also have a sprout down here. And of course our will-o'-the-wisp over there as well. I kind of like this little area of the quarry. It's a very unique little area. There's just like a little pond at the bottom of everything. It's just kind of runoff water. But it adds a little visual variety to the area because it's at the bottom of a massive pit. So it's really not much to look at in the quarry overall, or there shouldn't be. But they managed to add little things like the pool here and the goblin camp that the tree is in the middle of to kind of add a little bit of spice to it. We could crawl into that hole, but there's nothing for us there right now. We'll come back to that later. But for now, let's break through here to get a pocket watch. A thimble tag. So now we've taken care of business, it's time to release our Hobgoblin buddy.
Bingo.
We just need to go back up to where he was earlier. And there we are.
Thanks, kid. Now, I'll free your brother and tell him to meet you back at the river.
Wait, give him this, so he can see the goblins.
Yeah, sure, whatever. But before I do, look at me, kid.
What was that for?
Now you can see the unseen world without the stone. Have fun.
All I want is the book. Arthur Spiderwick's field guide. I know you found it.
I don't have it, but I know where it is. If I bring it to you, then you'll leave us alone?
You have my word. Redcap, follow him. When he gives you the book, kill him. Kill them all. Ow! Die!
Hey, boy number 2. Here's a gift from boy number 1.
Oh, the monocle. But where's Jared?
He's gonna meet you at the river.
That thing said he'd let us go if we gave him the book that Jared took.
And you're supposed to be the smart one. That ogre will eat you and your family for dinner as soon as he gets his claws on that book.
What should I do? I don't even have a weapon.
My suggestion? Run!
The main thing I can get, the only thing I can really guess with that cutscene is that Smellgraf was speaking Goblin to the other goblins so that Simon couldn't actually understand him. Because otherwise he kind of gave his entire plan away there like an idiot. But here's the exit, so let's get out of here, shall we? So of course we're Simon right now, so let's just run. We just have a use for the dash power, yay! Oh yeah. But also, when he mentions that Jared can see the unseen worlds, basically that also means that he can see the goblins from further away, because he doesn't have to wait for them to get in the range of the monocle anymore. Now he can see them from much further away.
Jared! Yikes, and he looks hungry too.
Did your brother leave you? Come see me. I won't desert you.
I quite like the River Troll. It's an interesting enemy because it's not really an enemy, it's a minigame. We have to feed him 10 goblins for him to leave us alone and be sated. But the easiest way to do that is actually this. And intentionally get caught by him, so a goblin comes up to us trying to hit us, and then he just eats the goblin. It's what we're supposed to do, I think, is we're supposed to be able to like try and lure them into or beat them into his range. But this is just much more efficient. It's way easier to do it this way. It's so, like, it's idiotic, but in a kind of funny way. You're already a third of the way done. Oh yeah, this guy will be basically bugging us the entire game. Then again though, there is a side quest to deal with him later, which we'll be doing at the earliest opportunity, because otherwise if we don't, every time we pass through here, he'll show up and we'll have to do this stupid minigame. And I didn't know how to deal with him the first time I played this game, so I actually had to do this minigame quite a few times. I like the music though, it's really good music for the game. The River Troll in general is a really good design. I like him in general, he's a lot of fun. Like, he's ugly and everything like that in a very fearsome kind of way, but he also looks very distinct from the goblins and trolls and ogres. I also kind of like that they all have similarities to the bigger enemies, like the ogre and the trolls, for example. They all look like they're woven together from, like, pure magic and wood and trees and things like that, and just general, like, they feel like parts of the forest come to life. Like the ogre has a bunch of trees growing out of him, Mulgrath, that kind of thing, and this guy is covered in moss, that sort of thing. It helps them feel like they belong to this forest, like the forest kind of created them almost. Maybe it's some kind of defense mechanism. I'm not entirely certain, but it allows you to speculate, and that's always fun with those kind of designs, where things that don't appear to have much of a link are linked. But we're very nearly done with the minigame now. The cool thing is, this is actually just a large amount of goblin fangs. It's just a quick waggle the stick to get out of it thing. I quite like beating him in the face with a club as well, it's quite satisfying. I mean, it's a baseball bat, but he uses it like a club. I just need to wait for one more to spawn. I quite like the piano part here, it's a really good part of the song. I'm glad that the minigame goes on just long enough to hear the whole, all the parts of the song too.
Are you okay? No! What's happening? I tried to tell you. They're after this book. There might even be an ogre. There is! He's pretty upset with... Run! I'll protect you! You better!
Yeah, this is now a escort quest where we have to protect Simon, but then again it's not too bad because he has plenty of health. He gets hit quite a few times in this run and he still survives, so... I've never actually failed this side quest, or this main quest thing, with getting Simon back home safely. But as you can see, if he does start getting hit, he does take damage quite badly. It's just generally, he also has quite a lot of health. I don't know if it's determined by how many health spikes we've found or anything like that, but I've never had to worry about it. We just need to kind of keep them off him as best we can, pretty much.
Jared, over here!
I like the music here as well that they plays as well. It's like a remix of the normal Spiderwick theme, but much more frantic, and that's always fun. Like the piano's much higher tempo, but it's the same basic scales as the main Spiderwick theme, and that's a good bit of sound design there. It's just played much faster with some added bells in there as well, and literal bells and whistles to give it a little extra urgency. Where are you going, Simon? This is the longest possible route. That can be a bit of a pain that Simon takes this really weird route around, and this minigame can sour people on Simon. Like, at this point in the game I wasn't that big a fan of him, he was kind of whiny. But by the end of this video, you'll see why he's actually my favourite character. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's just finish getting him home so we can actually show himself off, shall we? You see, he's weak now with no resources, but remember, he invented the monocle. He's already proving himself when it comes to mechanical ability. I was hoping that would heal him too, because I'm not sure how it worked exactly, but it doesn't, unfortunately. Annoyingly, health fairies don't actually heal the escortee as well as you. That would be nice if they did that, but I guess that would make it too easy.
Keep going.
Come on, Simon, nearly
Safe
home,
inside the
3.
toadstool ring.
So now that's the escort mission over, pretty much. Well, once we get inside the ring, anyway, which isn't very far away now.
We'll be safe inside
Take out
the
these last
toadstool
couple of
ring.
few goblins. They actually like modelled the monocle on Simon's face as well. That's kind of fun. It's not just a cutscene thing.
That was close. The toadstools protect the house. They can't get through. Help! Go find her, quick!
So now let's go rescue Mallory, shall we? And we'll see how the third and final character behaves in this game. Now that we played briefly as Simon. It's time to cycle and play a bit with Mallory. Because now she's in trouble.
Jared,
But she's also a fencer.
here, put this on your eye.
Fuck!
Oh, help!
Get away from him!
See, Mallory is a sporty person. She does fencing at school, which means she's quite an adept sword fighter. And she can parry and knock his sword away, and that's awesome. This is the main boss fight of the game, is Mallory versus Redcap. And they're kind of fun. Redcap's actually quite a dangerous opponent, because we don't really have any fairies at the moment to use. But the boss fight we don't really need them right now. We do take quite a bit of damage here, but there are ways to mitigate how many enemies we get surrounded by. Like that particular move, for example, that Mallory has is quite fun. Yeah, I quite like that Mallory's attacks, because she's a fencer, so she knows how to fight, are much more accurate than everyone else's, where Jared just kind of flails around like an idiot with a baseball bat. She's going for like weak points and stabbing really hard with a sword, and she actually parries and stuff. She has skills. She's not just flailing, she's fighting properly. She's giving Redcap a run for his bloody money, in a way Jared could not. I'm getting them all confused because they're twins. Oh well. But we're nearly done here now. Problem is he blocks most of the attacks. What we need to do is wait for him to attack so we can actually do the parry. And then, there we are.
Now do you believe me?
Can someone please tell me what's going on?
You haven't seen anything yet. There's a bigger one out there somewhere. Yeah, we're safe here inside the Toadstool Circle. But there's an ogre that wants Arthur's Field Guide, the book I found. If they get it, it'll be unstoppable.
We've got to destroy the book then. We'll burn it up.
Usually I'd object, but I think you're right. I saw a page about fire salamanders. I'll catch one. We can use that to burn it. Good idea. Here, take my bat. No thanks. I also read about a few things I can use to make a weapon of my own.
This is where Simon goes stone cold badass. Wait till you see what he builds. Also, I quite like this part of the game because all the kids become much more likable here because now they're all on the same page, if you mind the butt pun. Because generally they were somewhat abrasive towards each other at first, not really getting along well, but now that they have a shared mission, which is survive all these enemies coming after them, they're actually coming up with plans together, not just like, they're not arguing about what to do or anything like that, they're not objecting to the Mallory's plan of burning the book, it's just, well, it's a feasible idea that might work. No more book means no more goblins.
Maximum coverage.
Well, at least they won't be attacking us as fervently, because they'll have nothing to get. Besides vengeance, but then again, you know, they're not thinking that far ahead. They're kind of panicking right now. They're not quite sure what to do. And who can blame them? They're young kids dealing with this really weird thing that they've just been thrown into the deep end in arse first. So it's not surprising that the first idea is one that could potentially have bad repercussions. It's just the only thing they can think of to do right now with the information they have. So yeah, he's going to make something called a splatter gun. It's a fun weapon. We've gathered all the parts that are outside now, so let's go inside the house to get the rest of our ingredients and parts, shall we? You may remember at the beginning of the game I showed off a page that mentioned goblins being weak to a particular potion as well. That is a key ingredient in the splatter gun. Simon is going to weaponize the hell out of that potion. I also quite like that Sir Jared's like, hey, you want to borrow my baseball bat to fight these things? And he's just like, nah, I've got a better idea how I'm going to really bring the pain. I read that book.
These are useful for
I
sandwiches.
mean, Jared read it too, but Simon really read it.
Just what I need.
So let's get the ingredients to remember, shall we? The tomato sauce,
could
the
help pick
oatmeal,
my
generally everything we need. There's quite a lot of items we need to get to build this because it's very complex. It's a very complex device we need to build.
Bottle.
But as you can tell, the design of the splatter gun is starting to take shape. As we gather more parts of it, we can kind of guess how it's going to come together. I always like these kind of like cobbled together kind of inventions, like the Baudelaire's inventions in the Unfortunate Events series, or these inventions of Simon's here, because they're always quite satisfying to watch them be assembled and everything, and try and work out how different things are going to come together. It's something I quite like with Miraculous Ladybug as well, is her main power, when she gets the Lucky Charm used, is to see how things will fit together when she uses it as well. It's always a fun thing to watch them do, is assemble an idea like that. Because generally I like that kind of jigsaw puzzle aesthetic with seeing things slotting into place.
A bite pump will provide pressure for my splatter gun.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of items around the house, and Simon's going to pretty much grab them all at this point. He's going to monopolize all but 2 items that we can't get yet for reasons.
I like your notion. A few more items and you'll have a potion.
Yeah, I think Nimbletack knows what we're up to. And I think everyone approves. So let's just find those last few items, shall we?
The acidic component is poison to the goblins. Perfect.
Yeah. Vinegar, oatmeal, tomatoes. We're basically making a vinaigrette. We're going to season them to death. So now we've got all the items, let's go to the workbench, shall we? And actually assemble the thing that will make Simon the best character to play as in this entire game. Because this is cool, it's an infinite ammo squirt gun of goblin death. I just love his, like, the aesthetic of the gun. It's very Ghostbusters. And it's also got some really fun moves you can do with it as well, like this. The diving bomb attack. That's a really fun attack. When dodging enemies, you can just blast them in the face with that. It's a really good weapon. And we're actually not quite done here as well. I am leaving, that's because I've temporarily forgotten something. So let's go right back in there, shall we? Because I mentioned Simon's going to use basically all the items in the house. Now we have this splatter gun, we've also unlocked a side quest to get a weapon upgrade for him. That's not an upgrade for the gun, the gun's as good as it's going to get. Simon made it. Can't be any better. Now there's going to be a secondary weapon that's going to be quite nice to have as well, even though I never use it. All we need to do is grab these.
I can fill these with my goblin concoction.
Yep, and now we have grenades. Goblin grenades. So now Simon is basically the Terminator of the Goblin world. So with that in mind, let's leave to let it auto-save again, keep our progress of getting these really cool items. And then, in the next episode, we'll be exploring quite a bit as Simon. Because while there is a fight that is really close by, I want to explore as Simon because there's a lot we can still do as him now that we've unlocked him. So I'll see you next time, as we explore the grounds and the forest as Simon, and see what we can do with him. Goodbye.